Hi, this is Abul Hussain coming to you live and direct from London, the United Kingdom, and welcome to another episode of the SMMA Mastermind podcast, where we talk about how you can start or scale your agency, and we also bring on subject matter experts who can part their wisdom with you to help you deliver better results for your clients. Now, if you are watching this interview outside of our Facebook group, make sure to find the link above or below this video or go to smmamastermind.com, especially if you're in the agency community. Enough of that, I have a very special guest joining me all the way from the US. He's originally from Spain, but he got over there. He is the founder of Real Focus Marketing, a non-traditional SEO agency. So we're going to find out a little bit more about what he means by that. Jesus Meca, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abul. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me. So for the people who might not be familiar with who you are, how about a little bit of an introduction? I suppose let's start from Spain to the US and how you got into the SEO space.
Yeah, I was born in a couple of islands called the Canary Islands in Spain. They are kind of like in the Atlantic, west of Africa. And I started with SEO because when I started my first business, I had to bring clients to my business. And at that time, I didn't have a budget to bring clients or to hire someone else. So I had to either learn it myself or do something different. My background is in industrial engineering, so figuring things out, it's kind of like in my DNA. And then I started to have success and I thought I could do the same for other people. My dad was a lawyer, so I started to build websites for lawyers and rank them on Google and call them. And that's how everything started. Then I came here to the US in 2014, and I work with all type of companies from small to companies with thousands of employees.
Right, that's awesome. So when you are talking about non-traditional SEO, what do you actually mean? Because, oh, by the way, Canary Islands are beautiful. I was at 𝗖ście𝗵𝗶 a couple of years ago, and I want to go
Costa.
back once this whole pandemic business is over. So what do you mean by non-traditional SEO? Because people obviously have their own perceptions. 10 years ago, it was all about building 1 million backlinks. That has all changed over the years. So tell us a little bit more about what you do on the SEO side.
Well, when you think about agencies normally, because I've also consulted agencies, from agencies with corporate clients to agencies with 600 clients. When you think about that, you will see that it's almost like a supply chain factory type of setup, right? It's like they turn businesses through that supply chain factory style, and they do pretty much everything for every client that comes to their agency. Now, this is great for the agency side. It allows you to do profit and to have a process that you don't need to think about a lot. But on the side of the client, sometimes misses a lot of things, because sometimes you do things for clients that they don't necessarily need to get done. So when I talk about non-traditional, it's a branding move as well. And it's all about doing what the client needs and what's going to get them the fastest results possible when it comes to SEO.
Right. And also you mentioned that you work in the e-commerce space. At the beginning of the interview, you mentioned you started doing SEO for lawyers, or for your dad at least. So how come you moved from doing SEO for service-based businesses to e-commerce?
It really was what was coming was what I was doing. At the beginning, when I came here, I pretty much didn't have where to live. So I came back and really started from the rock bottom again. And everything was whatever I could get my hands on, I will do. So by doing that, I started to get multiple different types of clients. And then e-commerce was the one that was coming the most. So
That's interesting.
I pretty much went that route, even though, I work with still with multiple niches, if you call them, or verticals or whatever.
Right. Okay. So in terms of the work that you do, is that kind of more on the technical SEO or well, I suppose backlink building is called PR these days or something like that. Where do you focus on?
We do A to Z, really. So everything that a company needs, will do. Just to give you an example, we work with clients that I still don't know what they do
Right.
because the subject matter is so complicated that it takes you, I don't know, 3 to 6 months to really get into the weeds and understand what the company do. Just to give you an example, punch out catalogs.
Right.
Nobody knows. It's so niche. Nobody knows. I don't even know still. It's so weird things that we work with. Yeah, I forgot what the question was, but
No, that's fine. You're providing an A to Z service. That's great. I suppose on the backlinks business, right? Because that's always controversial, and I ask all of the SEO
okay.
experts on their take on backlinks. Some say you don't need any, others say you still need them, but you need to be careful how you build them. What's your
Right.
take on backlinks? How important are they to rank right now? And I mean, what's the best way to build them? I suppose.
What I would say is that, and something that I found a lot of SEO agencies and experts do, is give generalized answers. So I cannot say backlinks are good or bad as a general thing, because you can accomplish a lot of things doing a lot of different things in SEO these days. You can build 40 pieces of content per day, right? And in a year, you're going to rank for a lot of terms because it's a massive output of information. If you do very good job on the on-site SEO, that's going to get you results.
Right.
And you can also focus on the opposite, build not that much amount of content and focus on the backlink side of things. You will get results as well. Now, I'm saying you will get results without taking into consideration competition, what the budget is, how aggressive you go, etc., etc. So SEO for me has become something that is not generic anymore. And it's interesting because after about 10 years of it, a lot of the times when somebody asks me, how should we do this? My answer will be, well, the common knowledge, or in my experience, this is what I would think we should do, but we need to get some background. We need to look at the competition, etc., etc. That's the way I move. Now, when it comes to backlinks, um, you do it like everybody does. You just go out there, search for websites, and ask for backlinks. That's the easiest way to build backlinks. As it's pretty safe if you do it right.
Right. Okay. Well, I suppose that's a kind of a midway answer, not falling on one end or the other end of the spectrum. So,
Right.
in terms of when you are starting to work with clients and they've brought you on, what do they? I mean, SEO. Let's be honest. There's so many people doing SEO. What do
Yep.
people hire you specifically for? Because surely you're not going to be the first agency that they have worked on with SEO, and you probably might. Well, let's hope you are the last agency, but why do people bring you on?
I think because of my charisma, man.
Well, that's glowing through right here.
No, I would say that I'm very focused on just really helping businesses, and that transpires in my conversations. It wouldn't be, just to give you an example. I had a call with a guy that had a specific service that was building videos, transforming blog posts into videos for companies, right? And he wanted to do SEO for it. And I told him literally, I don't think SEO is the best way for you right now, because you're almost trying to create a new ocean, a new market. And based on the number of clients that you have and what you're doing, I think what you should do is just take the clients that you have been working with, take the success that you have created for them. If you can pinpoint that into sales, and take that data, pitch to the other clients that you are not offering this service to. When you have 20 clients, go to corporate clients. And when you have 50 clients, just come back to me and we will create the ocean for you. So that's pretty much how I approach SEO. If I really think I can help someone and I find ways that we can do that without them wasting time and money in something else, that's what we do. And I think that transpires in my conversations when I talk to them.
Right. Okay. And I think a lot of people know that before people buy your service, they buy you. So if you can if you sell yourself first, selling the service becomes a lot easier. So when you go into working with a new client, and you might be picking up the pieces from somewhere another
Right,
agency has left off, right?
right.
What do you find to be the common problems in, I suppose, new projects?
I don't know if there's one common problem,
Right.
but what I've actually found is that agencies don't do what they said they were going to do. That's pretty much the problem that I see the most. So it's not that, oh, they didn't do the technical SEO right, or they didn't, like, I literally have an e-commerce store right now that spends about $4,000 per month for 9 months with an agency. And I was reviewing the backlog of that agency. We actually had to ask them for the backlog because they didn't bring anything. So in the last 5 months, what they were doing is writing 2 blog posts, submitting it to Search Console, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, wow.
So when you talk with someone that, for example, doesn't have experience with marketing, it's a new startup, for example,
Mm.
it's very easy to either bring your agency as we are known, or as your agency as, oh, we specialize on this only. And that could be a good selling point. But what I found, a lot of companies end up just not getting what they pay for.
Right. Well, I'm not surprised. There's kind of, because of the size of the industry, you have kind of operators doing all sorts of stuff. One thing that I often hear from freelancers, one question that pops up in my group and other forums that I'm in, is how much should someone be charging for SEO? What is a fair rate? And I know it's a tough question, but I mean, how would you work out what
No,
a
it's not tough at all.
okay?
It's not tough because there's not a right answer to that. The question is very easy to answer, and is how much can you convey to the client?
Hmm.
What's fair for both?
Yeah.
Like, is it fair for you to charge $10,000 per month and generate zero?
Hmm.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't pay 10 grand for zero back. Would you?
No, no way, no way.
Right. So if you are a local business and you know that through SEO, based on maybe your experience, or you can get experience from other people, you can even consult somebody to help you create, budgets and present pricings. You can do kind of like a progression of what you are intending to do for that business, and then present that information to the business. It's not rocket science, really.
Mm.
Maybe there's a difficulty for someone to be able to put themselves into that position if they don't have the experience. But you could even start on an hourly rate. What's fair for an SEO to charge per hour? $50, $100, $200. Those 3 avenues could be a good starting point. And then, break it down into, well, I think we need to put, I don't know, 20 hours per month into that. That could be one avenue. Another avenue will be a value-based pricing. Okay, so you have a conversation with the client. You need to know what questions to ask to.
Right.
You need to know, okay, how much do you make per client? You probably don't want to ask it that way as the first question, right?
Mhm.
But you can have a conversation. Hey, what are you guys wanting to accomplish? Oh, we want to grow. Okay, how much do you want to grow? Oh, we want to grow 30%. In how long? In the next year. Okay, where are you right now? Oh, this is what we are doing. Okay, so for you to get into the 30%, how many new clients or customers do you need? Oh, this much. Okay. So if we break it down, this is how much is per customer. Okay, I get it. How many competitors do you have in the industry right now? This many. Do you feel that your industry is competitive, or is soft, medium? Oh, it's competitive. Okay. So based on what you told me, this is what I think we should do. This is the pricing that I think we should put into this. Do you think that makes sense?
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Hmm.
Now, this could be $1,000 per month, or it could be $100,000 per month.
Sure, depending on the size of the client, of course.
And the budget that they have and the competition that they have. It's just very, it's easy to answer the question, but it has a lot of variables because again, it's all about the business that you're talking to.
And speaking about budgets, actually, do you find that okay, corporate clients aside who have an annual budget, when you're dealing with small businesses, do they have a budget when they are speaking to you, or do you need to guide them on a budget?
I think we should define what a small business is first, because that question to me is not very clear. What is a small business? For some people, less than $10 million is a small business. For some other people, it's someone that is making $50,000 per year. So what is a small business? For me,
Someone up to $1 million, someone doing up to $1 million. Let's say like
right.
micro business, even family business, whatever you want to call it. Someone doing up to $1 million, mom and pop kind of store or whatever. You know, do you find that they might have an appetite to do SEO, but do you need to guide them in terms of what their budget should be, or would they actually have a set amount set aside because they know what they're doing? I mean, how does it work in your world?
So then I will ask another question. It's how it goes, because it's like, okay, it's making $1 million.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it that you're not giving me like straight answers, because this is exactly how you should be discovering your clients' issues and problems before you give them a rate card, right?
Right. So, okay, it's $1 million business. What type of business? A restaurant makes 3% of the net income.
Yeah.
So do you think that if you're making $1 million at 3% is going to give you a lot of resources to put into SEO? No.
Yeah.
And then you have startups that are not making $1 million and are putting $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per month into marketing and SEO. So it's just again, and again, the next question will be, okay, how much do they know about anything? Because you can find someone that comes to say, hey, I want to do SEO. This is what I want to accomplish. I've learned a lot about SEO and I'm just totally sold about this. I need to do it. My budget is, I've done a little bit of research, is $2,500 per month. Can you help me?
Right.
And then there will be other people that would say, well, I don't know how much I should invest. And you are like, well, how much do you have to invest? A question that I like to answer, because a lot of the money issue is a big issue for most people, right? It's something that makes a lot of people nervous, right? So you will have a lot of prospects that will tell you, well, how much this cost, right? And a lot of people have a tendency to give an answer, either because you have productized your service and you know how much your expenses are, or either because this is what you were told you should say, or what you had in mind, right? And my answer is always, well, it depends how much it costs. How much do you want to get in? How much competition you have? How fast do you want to grow? Because the faster you want to grow, the more resources we are going to need, right? So if I can get you to X, what do you think you should invest? That could be a good starting point.
And that leads into my next question actually quite nicely, which is around setting the right expectations, you know, because obviously when you pick up a client, you probably don't know where you're going to get over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, or even a year. How do you ensure that you're all on the same page so that, you know, a month or two later, they don't feel like you are burning them?
That's pretty easy as well. Either you sign a contract and tell them, we have a contract and we are going to be married with each other for this amount of time, because it's almost like a marriage, a business relationship. Or if you don't want to sign a contract, you tell them the expectations right away, and you need to be just almost like brutal with it. Because, and I've had that happen to me, you might set the expectations very clear, and then the client will come 2 months later and say, hey, what's going on? So I think in the whole communication, before, during, it always needs to come back to the initial conversation and what was taught in that conversation. So If you're delivering on a weekly basis, some reports, or in a monthly basis, in every report, in every conversation, somehow you need to be stating the thing that we're taught in the conversation. Hey, so we are week 1. Hey, this is what we have done. We are shooting for our 6-month goals that we set up at the very beginning. Month 1, hey, we are 1/6 of the target that we set up of us working together, and it should be communicated, in all reportings, in all conversations and things like that. So it's almost like cementing that into it. In my experience, I don't need to do that much. Because I think I set it out very clear at the beginning, but that would be my suggestion for people that are starting out or don't know how to set up expectations. That would be, I think, the best advice that I could give.
Okay, so when you are talking about a 6-month plan, are you talking about to achieve a certain ranking, or, for example, people who run, I suppose, PPC and paid social campaigns, they're often judged on the ROI that they bring on the ad spend, etc. And I suppose when you can show a business owner, actually, you know what, you put $1 in, you're going to get 5 back after you pay for the ads and you pay me, and that kind of makes sense. How do you try and kind of demonstrate something similar from an SEO perspective, or are most of the customers that you speak to, they know that there won't be that kind of an immediate ROI and that this is going to take 6 to 12 months to achieve?
Right. I don't try to compare SEO with pay-per-click ever. And here's something else. I don't work with local businesses either. Most of our clients are national. There is a big difference because I've worked and seen both business model. One is that you can present a potential income report based on SEO, based on keywords and traffic, and then do a click-through rate comparison, how many people are going to arrive to the website, then how much the website converts, how much their sales teams convert, and all that stuff. In my case, usually I walk through the client to a conversation that is all about what they want. And I usually talk about dollars as a result of SEO. The client at the end of the day doesn't care. If you're able to bring the conversation to dollars and you're confident that you can help them get there, that's the conversation to have.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do you want to, because a lot of clients will come and say, well, I want to rank for these keywords and I want to grow the traffic 200%. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to help you rank for Nike shoes?
Yeah.
And maybe it's a company that sells, I don't know, books.
Right. Okay.
That would be no. And I say, okay, do you want me to help you rank for Nike shoes though?
Mhm.
No. So I think we should leave the conversation about rankings and traffic aside, and maybe we can focus on what matters. That sometimes is not ranking for the keywords that you are telling me you want to rank.
Right.
So if you allow me to suggest what we should do, then I think we are going to be all in the same page, because what I want to help you with is to grow the company and make more money and not just be focused on traffic and rankings.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is almost turning into how to do sales for SEO almost.
a little bit, a little bit. We need to have a little bit of a sales element. And my next question was actually about a little bit more about the SEO process. So when you go into, I suppose, a new organization, what does your actual process look like? Where do you start?
Right. So the first thing, again, starts with the conversation on the sales process. And it's really to know what the company needs or wants, right? When you have that nailed down, then you reverse engineer that. Okay, in order to arrive this, we need this, and that. Usually, sometimes if it's an e-commerce store, it's easier to understand because you can gather conversion rates and traffic and then do kind of like a guesstimate.
Right.
So then you can, the first thing to do is just to find the low hanging fruit. It's important to show clients results as fast as possible,
Hmm.
because then they trust you more and they put more money into it.
Right.
So the first thing that we do is try to find the low-hanging fruit in order to provide even more trust. And when you do that, it's just everything is sells way better. Now, if you ask me how to do this specifically and tactically, it's not that complicated. It's just you
Please go
find,
on.
you find what they are already ranking so far. You make sure that there are not technical issues that are preventing the website to grow, or there's no keyword cannibalization. That means they have multiple pages trying to rank for the same keywords. And then you push those.
Mm.
And you can get results fairly easier
Quite
with
simple.
focusing on that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
So
so I'm guessing you
then,
take a look at Search Console first. That's your first kind of port of call when you go into a new business. And then you try to marry that up with data from maybe Google Analytics or some other analytics tools that they are using.
I usually go through Screaming Frog,
Right.
then Google Search Console, see if there's something very weird there. If there's not, then I go to indexation to see if they had problems with indexation. That means usually author pages, tags, paginations, and
Mm.
stuff like that. And 404 errors as well, and internal links errors. And after that, most of the businesses don't have a lot more
Right.
when it comes to technical, unless you're dealing with a business with 100,000 pages or more.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, we've worked with companies with millions of pages, so this is when technical is way more important, right? But the
Yeah.
average is not that complicated. And then after that, it's just tweaking on-site SEO,
Hmm.
internal linking, shooting a couple of links,
Hmm.
and you can show like results fairly quickly. You are
Right.
not going to, in general, transform a business doing that. But the person that you are dealing with will see that you're working hard and you're getting results faster than expected. And then that can lead to the next conversation. Hey, so this is what we are focusing on. I'm happy that we are getting results. I don't want to set the expectations that this is how it's going to be forever. Now we are going to be focusing on the part that is a little bit more difficult, okay? And
Right.
that's going to take more time. So that's how you show value,
Hmm.
and showing up and doing what you say.
Right. And in your experience, in terms of moving the needle the quickest, in terms of increasing the SERP position, if you were to break it down into a percentage, what percentage of it would you kind of weigh towards on-page SEO, and what percentage on the off-page stuff?
It depends on the business. Sorry to
And
say it again.
generally.
No, it's that I don't feel
Right.
that we have general clients in
Right.
general. So you have I would say three types of different clients.
Right.
One are the clients that have been burned in the past,
Hmm.
right? And those could have a lot of issues or no issues at all. It depends on what the previous agency or consultant did before. Then you have startups that haven't done a lot before, but they have the budget. There are actually more types. Then you have people that have grown by themselves, just pushing things out, but without having a strategy.
Hmm.
And then you have a little bit more, I would say maybe corporate type of client, where you are maybe dealing directly with the VP of marketing or CMO,
Right.
and they don't have a team. So you kind of become part of, you or your agency become part of the team.
Hmm.
And that's also a different relationship because it's a little bit more, they all, of course, want the results, but it's more how to present things to the
Sure.
C executive, right? And to the
Right.
stakeholders.
Mm.
So you have these different type of relationships, and depending on those relationships, for example, the corporate, it's a little bit more time waste, to be honest, because the whole politics and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and they want things a certain way. And the other ones, again, it depends. If they
Right.
haven't done much, if everything that they've done is put content out, you will find that just shooting links is going to help them a lot. And doing very likely a content analysis. And then, but again, man, it's just
Well, there's so much, as you say, you know, kind
Not
of.
only that, SEO at the end of the day breaks down into two things. When we comment the generalistic, if you say, Jesus, you need to tell me some general stuff. If not, we're going to end this conversation right now. Just tell me something. I will be SEO at the end of the day is content and backlinks.
Yeah.
At some point, you finish the technical part, you finish the on-site, you finish internal linking, you finish whatever else you do that takes the first 3 months. And then it's just keyword research, content, and backlinks. That's pretty much, that's SEO in breaking down into a very
In a
simple,
nutshell.
generalistic. Now being a generalistic. What I was complaining about at the beginning, now I've become one of those guys.
Well, people like simple answers, you know, but I can see why you're a non-traditional man. Now we've got a couple of minutes left. So what I want to focus on now, I suppose, is, you know, when you started off in the US, because you got there from Spain, and like you say, you started, I suppose, bottom up, you
That
know,
was brutal.
landed there. What were you doing to pick up clients? Because a lot of people struggle picking up clients. They can do the work, but they often find it really, really tricky to pick up also the right clients that are going to pay them, you know, for the value they bring to the table.
Dude, I'm going to say this, and I hope that I don't offend anyone, but if you can speak proper English and you're not getting clients, get out of here, man. Like, I was so worried because I have a strong accent, as you may see and hear.
You have a beautiful accent.
It is beautiful, but at the beginning, I thought that it was a fucked up accent to be in the US and call businesses to ask for their. So I literally remember we were house sitting for my wife's grandfather we were pretty much living in the living room.
Wow.
We were afraid of turning on the electricity because we thought we will have to pay for it, and we didn't have anything to pay for it. And I remember telling my wife to leave the living room so I could call some local businesses. And I remember sweating in the living room and being nauseous because it was so difficult for me. And of course, I stumble, I bubble, I just tripped my words all the time because I haven't built that confidence. And then I ended up finding that people were pretty nice,
Okay.
you know? So that was a good, I mean, you get the one or two assholes, right? That
Yeah.
are going through whatever they are going. Like, I don't blame them. They might be receiving mine might be the 100th call of the day of an
Right.
asshole trying to sell them something, right? And then just little by little getting, and when you say, you know, businesses that have the budget, I didn't care. $350 for me per month was the budget. That was it. If I could get my hands on a couple of those, I was kind of fine because I was able to pay the electricity. Right?
Right.
And then it's just the confidence, raise, referrals, getting more comfortable with outreaching, and then shifting my mindset. Because then I understood that my accent was an asset.
Mm.
Why is an asset? Because if I'm speaking with someone, they need to pay more attention to me than to anybody else. They
That's a
have
good way
to.
to look at it.
Well, that's how it is. There's no, it's just how it is. So when I was able to shift that and I had the confidence, I already have the experience and the knowledge. It was almost like a trip because I could see people paying more attention to me than the rest. And then I was like, this is how it is. Because at the end of the day, a business owner wants to listen to the person that knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't care if you speak in French or if you have an European Spaniard accent or what. If they feel and know that you can help them, they'll listen.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. It was just really hard for me. If you're good
Yeah.
at sales,
Uh-huh.
what I found that is difficult is find someone that is good at sales and at the same time good at management and building a business.
Yeah.
It's almost like a unicorn. And the other way around too, when you find someone that is good at the tech part, it's difficult for those type of people to be good at sales. So an option, I guess, that you are probably already seen where I'm going, is potentially find a partner. I've been lucky to be able to push both,
Mm.
but that would be a good way to start as well. Find out someone that is hungry as you are, and then partner, and one do what they do the best and the other one does the other thing.
No, that's absolutely awesome. So, final question for you, Jesus, because you've been
Now
very.
you did it. Now you did it.
I got the
You
name wrong, did
you
I?
you call me like the Almighty.
Jesus. Yeah.
Jesus.
Jesus.
I
So,
could be the Almighty for you. You know what I say?
yes.
What's better than having Jesus doing the SEO for your company? What's better than that?
I bet you get that a lot. Jesus. Sorry.
It's all good.
I'm sure I get Abdul all the time, right? So,
Yeah.
so you've been very generous with your time. Final question for you. Over the last 7 years, I'm sure you've kind of had quite a few challenges, tribulations that you've had to overcome. What are the biggest lessons that you could share with the digital marketing community?
Poof, there's so many.
Pick
Lessons
three.
regarding what? Regarding what
Building your
specific?
business, building your business.
I would say learn a little bit about finance literacy. Like, you're making 10 grand per month, that doesn't mean you're making 10 grand per month. Just 30% out of the bat goes to taxes. So I was fortunate to have that in place at the very beginning. So that would be one. The other one will be to focus on sales first. I'm assuming that you already know how to do what you say you can do. And if not, partner with someone. There are two lines of agencies and courses that I see people selling. One is sell the heck out of it and outsource most of it. And the other one is just dig into the knowledge and then go after the market. For me, either way is fine, as long as you're doing something that is that you're telling the truth, basically,
Mm,
right? But focus on sales. And then I would say have fun, man.
yeah.
Try to have fun. Like, if you're having fun, things are going to flow. And if you're not having fun at all, maybe look back to what you're doing, because maybe it's not what you want to be doing. And I guess that at the beginning, it's not that easy to have fun if you need the money. But those would be my third, just
Hmm.
business and money literacy, focus on sales,
Hmm.
and then
Have fun.
have fun, man.
That's amazing. And I feel like we need to bring you back for a part two. But on that note, Jesus Meca, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Was happy to be here, and I hope that I gave my 2 cents.